Welcome to the latest edition of Bizarro World News, where science is held in the highest esteem, and we strive to speak out against pseudoscience and general quackery. Today, we're talking about contrails. Contrails are often referred to as chemtrails by people who'd rather believe in a conspiracy theory than learn anything about the atmosphere or physics. Chemtrails is a buzzword used to induce fear that chemicals are being sprayed behind high-altitude aircraft. The effect of these imaginary chemicals differs from conspiracy theorist to conspiracy theorist, but they all seem to agree on the central chemicals sprayed from airplanes thesis. Before I explain to you how contrails form, I'd like to take a moment to actually consider the idea that every airplane that reaches high altitude sprays chemicals behind them. What would such a feat actually entail? Consider all the people who design airplanes, the people who build airplanes, and crucially, the people who repair them, have access to all parts of the airplane. Globally, that's quite a lot of people. These people would have to be complicit in the conspiracy. As planes need to refuel, they'd also need to refill their evil chemical tanks. And I am a little incredulous at the idea that so many liters of chemicals are being manufactured and transported and refilled into airplanes with mysterious compartments missed by airplane mechanics. No shred of evidence beyond lines or clouds trailing behind airplanes. Any airplane mechanic with a smartphone could produce photographic evidence of any of these pieces of the mechanisms that would be involved in such a convoluted plot. So let's move on. What is really happening up there with clouds trailing behind airplanes? Well, to start, we have to understand how water behaves in the upper atmosphere. It's really, really cold up there. Even on a hot summer's day, it can get below freezing. There's not much moisture as air's ability to hold water declines with its temperature. So as it gets colder, less water. But it is up there, and as such, it's hanging out in a super cooled state. It remains liquid and gas despite any below freezing temperatures. It can't turn into ice, the solid, without something to freeze onto. Dust, pollen, ash, really any particles floating around in the troposphere. So before an airplane arrives, we have supercooled water floating around with nothing to freeze onto. Airplane flies through. Exhaust spits out all sorts of particles that fit the bill right out of the engines. And because the troposphere temperatures can drop below -40, it doesn't take long for a rush of water to latch on to all those little particles and freeze into cloud droplets. Trillions of them, trillions under 1/100th of a millimeter long, form an exhaust path right following the airplane. The streaming line of contrails, easily visible from the ground as you look up. I know it's not as sexy of an explanation as a global conspiracy of chemical manipulation, but it is the truth. The very thing conspiracy theorists claim to hold so dear. This has been another thrilling episode of Bizarro World News. Tell your friends, tell your enemies. Follow us on the social medias, and next time you see a line of clouds following an airplane, think contrails and forget chemtrails. I'm Dan. Have a great day.